Imagine for a moment you're learning to drive. You're nervous, maybe excited, and, well, completely reliant on the person sitting next to you.
Yeah, that's a vulnerable position, isn't it?
Totally. So what makes that person a truly effective teacher?
Hmm.
Someone who builds, real confidence and lasting
Mhm.
skills, not just someone who's a good driver themselves.
Exactly. It's a different skill set entirely.
Well, today, we're taking a deep dive into exactly that. We're unpacking the official guidance from gov.uk for assessing potential driving instructors, or PDIs.
Right.
Specifically, we're looking at their instructional ability test, which you might know as Part 3.
Ah, the part three. Notoriously tricky.
It seems so. And this document, it's not just some dry list of rules. Honestly, it's a bit of a goldmine. Surprising insights into what it truly takes to guide someone safely, effectively, on the road.
And what's really fascinating, I think what comes through in these guidelines is that becoming an instructor, it's way more than just knowing how to drive well.
Oh, definitely.
It's a whole framework for teaching, for learning, and critically for managing risk. So our mission today is to sort of uncover the depth of this assessment,
Yeah.
give you a totally new appreciation, hopefully, for the professionalism behind quality driving instruction. You'll discover these crucial elements that turn a skilled driver into a genuine educator, someone preparing people not just for a test, but, for a lifetime of safe driving.
Okay, let's unpack this then. Before a potential driving instructor, a PDI, even puts a key in the ignition for their assessment, there's this surprisingly meticulous process.
Yeah.
Checks, preparations.
Hmm.
It's way more involved than just, like, showing up. The examiner, for instance, they use this specific digital system.
The DES app.
Yeah, for one. The DES app. For all the candidate info, your unique personal reference number, PRN, test location, all that.
Standard procedure, but important.
Right. And when they greet you, they wear a name badge. And it's even noted, this struck me, that shaking hands isn't acceptable to everybody.
Oh, that's interesting. A sign of the times, perhaps, but also about creating a comfortable environment from the start.
Could be. But the real nitty-gritty starts with identity verification.
Hmm.
You absolutely have to show a photo driving license.
Makes sense.
And if it's an older style one, you need extra photo ID, like a valid passport or maybe your trainee license.
So no ambiguity about who's taking the test.
None. It's scanned. Confirming identity is crucial. Then comes the insurance declaration.
Yes, the big one.
You must read it, complete it, on that DES app for Part 3. If you refuse to sign, or if there's any doubt at all about your cover.
Test doesn't happen.
Exactly. Test just does not proceed. They even compare your signature to your ID. It's thorough.
That is an astonishing amount of admin before even starting the engine. What's the thinking there? Is it just ticking boxes, or is there a deeper reason?
What do you reckon? Seems like a lot.
Well, I think it's all about laying this foundation of absolute professionalism. It's not just paperwork for the sake of it. It really emphasizes that proper driving instruction is built on accountability, on strict compliance with the rules, and setting out very clear roles right from the get-go.
Okay.
It ensures everything's legitimate, fully prepared, no room for confusion before any driving actually starts. It's kind of the first test, isn't it? Attention to detail, following protocol.
That's a good point. And beyond the person, the instructor themselves, the car, the vehicle itself is a massive part of this assessment.
Oh, absolutely. The car has to be right.
So what are the non-negotiables there? What does the guidance say about the vehicle?
Well, first off, it has to meet the minimum test requirements. Obvious, maybe, but crucial. Roadworthy, demonstrably safe.
And there's specific exclusions, too.
Yes. No soft-top convertibles, which makes sense, maybe visibility or structure. And no 2+2 vehicles if the back seats aren't really adequate. Safety again.
Okay. And the basics? Tax, MOT.
All essential. The car absolutely must be taxed, have a current MOT, and be insured specifically for an ADI Part 3 test, not just regular insurance.
Specific Part 3 insurance. That's key.
Very key. And L plates, obviously, or D plates in Wales, if the pupil is a learner.
Naturally.
And for safety inside, working rear seat belts, proper rear head restraints if they're fitted, mandatory. If you turn up in a car that doesn't meet the grade,
Test could be over before it starts.
pretty much could be terminated right there in the car park.
Wow. And there's a really specific point, too, isn't there? About using things like taxis.
Yes, that's an interesting one. You can use a taxi or a private hire vehicle, provided it's taxed, MOT'd, or has a compliance certificate, and it's insured for the Part 3.
But there's a catch.
There is. If the pupil taking the lesson isn't a licensed taxi driver themselves, that vehicle must have a standard MOT. The certificate of compliance isn't enough then.
That just underlines how seriously they take every single safety detail, doesn't it? No loopholes.
Absolutely. It really drives home that safety and driver training isn't just one thing. It's multifaceted. It's not just the instructor's skill. It's the whole environment, the legal status of the instructor, the integrity of the car. Everything has to be demonstrably safe, legally compliant.
No corners cut.
None. Because ultimately, public safety is paramount, not just for the learner, but for everyone else sharing the road.
So the admin's done, the car is checked, the foundation is set, but then comes the actual driving part. What really defines the instructor's performance during that, 45-minute lesson?
Okay, so the test itself, the instructional ability part, it's about 45 minutes total.
Right.
Around 40 minutes of that is actual driving, wheels rolling. There's a little bit of time beforehand, a short period for discussion about the pupil, reviewing any training records.
And it has to be in English or Welsh.
Correct. No interpreters for other languages. If you need a Welsh-speaking examiner, you have to request that when you apply.
Got it. And the PDI, the instructor, what's their role at the start of the lesson?
They're encouraged to introduce their pupil to the examiner, but keep it relaxed. Explain why the examiner's there, checking the instructor's work, ensuring quality standards.
Okay.
Then the PDI sets up a normal lesson. Importantly, it has to be client-centered, based on what that specific pupil needs to learn or develop, and they record the lesson's theme on that DES app again.
And before they set off, the examiner quizzes the PDI a bit.
They do. Some really key questions about the pupil. How many hours they've had? Are they getting practice elsewhere, say with parents? What are the pupil's strengths? What areas need development? And crucially, what's the plan for today's lesson?
So they have to show they know their student.
Exactly. They should also show the pupil's driver's record, if one exists. The examiner then confirms, the purpose, deliver a client-centered lesson appropriate to the needs of your pupil, lasting about 40 minutes wheels rolling, and asks if the PDI has questions.
What strikes me there is how immediate that focus is. Right from the start, it's about the PDI's understanding of their pupil as an individual.
Precisely. It's not just, can you deliver lesson plan X? It's, can you adapt? Can you tailor this to this person's specific needs, their challenges right now?
Yeah.
It really sets the stage for adaptive teaching, recognizing every learner is different.
Which leads to the big question. What happens if things go wrong?
Yeah.
If safety becomes a real issue during the lesson? Because it's not a simulation, is it?
Absolutely not. And the guidance is crystal clear on this. Examiners must not willfully put anyone at risk. Themselves, the PDI, the pupil, other RAID users, anyone.
So if the PDI isn't managing risk properly,
If they're not, and dangerous situations start developing, the examiner has the power and the duty to terminate the test, right there, in the interest of public safety.
gotta handle that, must be awkward.
They're instructed to do it sensitively and with empathy. And importantly, they tell the PDI out of earshot of the pupil.
Okay, that's good. And there was a specific example about lesson plans too.
Yes, a really telling one. If the PDI's lesson plan includes things that need legal exemptions, say, emergency services training where speed limits might be exceeded,
Right.
the examiner cannot legally or safely accompany them for that part, health and safety. So if the PDI refuses to change the plan, remove those elements.
The test has to stop.
Must stop. It's a very clear line. Safety first, always.
If you connect that to the bigger picture then, it just hammers home that the PDI's #1 job is immediate safety.
Absolutely. The power to stop a test for a risk management failure. It's not just about passing or failing an assessment, it's a direct reflection of that non-negotiable priority. Public safety in driver training. Real lives, real roads.
Okay, so the driving part is done, the observation's complete. How does the examiner actually boil down that 40-minute lesson into a score? It can't be just gut feeling.
No, definitely not. It's very structured. All the assessment is made against 3 kind of high-level areas, 3 pillars of competence, you could say.
Okay, what are they?
First is lesson planning. Can the PDI plan effectively and crucially adapt the lesson to the pupil's needs?
Right, planning and adapting.
Second, risk management. How well did the PDI ensure safety? Manage hazards throughout the whole session.
Makes sense, the safety aspect.
And third, teaching and learning strategies. How effective were their actual teaching methods? Did the pupil actually learn something?
Planning, risk, teaching. Got it.
And those 3 broad areas, they're broken down further into 17 specific lower-level skills or competences.
17. Wow.
Yeah, each one is scored 0 to 3. 0 means no evidence, 3 means they nailed it. Add it all up, a perfect score is 51.
But it's not just about the total score, is it? There are instant fails.
Correct, automatic fails. If you score 7 or less in that critical risk management section, that's an automatic fail, regardless of the total score.
So risk is weighted heavily.
Very heavily. And also, any behavior during the test that puts the examiner, the pupil, or anyone else in immediate danger test stopped, automatic fail. No question.
So let's maybe dive a bit deeper. Can we get into the weeds on what some of these assessed skills actually look like in practice? Maybe starting with lesson planning.
Sure. So under lesson planning, it's not just about drawing a route. One competence is identifying pupil goals and needs.
Okay.
This means, does the PDI actively try to understand the pupil, their experience, background, goals, any concerns they have, even reading their body language,
Yeah.
and understanding existing weaknesses?
So it's quite psychological almost.
In a way, yes. For scoring, say a PDI who makes 0 attempt to understand the pupil gets a 0. Someone who tries but doesn't really listen or pick up on cues might get a 1.
Right.
Someone who gets the importance, tries hard, but maybe struggles to phrase questions well might get a 2. And a 3 is someone who really tunes in and understands.
That's fascinating. And adapting the plan.
Crucial. Another competence is adapting the lesson plan. Is the PDI willing and able to change things if the pupil struggles or seems uncomfortable? Or maybe they're doing better than expected?
So flexibility.
Yes, and they need to explain why they're changing it. It shows responsiveness, not just blindly sticking to a script.
Okay, let's move to risk management. What stands out there? You mentioned the low score fail.
Yes, it's central. One competence here is sharing responsibility for risk.
What does that mean exactly?
It means the PDI needs to clearly explain the safety balance between themselves and the pupil. How will dual controls be used? Discussing mistakes openly as they happen in relation to risk.
So it's a dialogue about safety.
It should be. And another point, clear and timely directions. Instructions need to be concise, sufficient, given at the right moment. The guidance actually warns against too many unnecessary instructions.
Really? Why is that?
Because it can demotivate the pupil and create a real hazard. Constant nagging isn't good instruction.
Interesting. And they mention mobile phones here too.
They do. Using a mobile while driving is explicitly cited as creating risk equivalent to drunk driving. That falls under awareness of surroundings and pupils' actions. A serious lapse there, likely a 0 score.
Wow. And intervening, taking control.
That's timely and appropriate intervention. Does the PDI step in when needed? Crucially, do they let the pupil handle things when they can, but take over when they're clearly out of their depth?
So it's a judgment call.
A critical one. Constantly intervening when it's not needed or distracting the pupil shows lack of competence.
This level of detail on interaction communication, it seems almost tangential to just driving, doesn't it? Why so much focus there?
That's a great question. Why the granularity?
Yeah, what's the thinking?
I think it clarifies something vital. A driving instructor isn't just a driving machine demonstrating skills. They have to be a sophisticated educator.
Okay.
All this emphasis on listening, adapting, getting the people to think critically, it transforms the role. They become a coach, aiming for lifelong safe drivers, not just someone who can pass the test next Tuesday. It's about building deep understanding.
Right, building that foundation. Which brings us to the third pillar, teaching and learning strategies.
Exactly, and this really gets to the heart of the teaching part. One competence is teaching styles suited to pupil.
Adapting again.
Constantly, does the PDI actively work out the pupil's learning style, their current ability, and modify their approach, providing support when needed, but not keeping them under instruction constantly, letting them take the reins?
And encouraging them to think for themselves.
Yes, encouraging problem analysis and responsibility. Does the PDI give the pupil time? Use good techniques to help them analyze problems, figure out solutions, take ownership. The guidance even says the most effective learning takes place when the pupil finds the answers for themselves.
That's powerful, empowering the learner.
Absolutely. It's also about using opportunities and examples. Seeing an emergency vehicle, dealing with bad weather. Does the PDI use these real-world moments to link theory to practice? Reinforce understanding.
Seizing the teachable moment.
Precisely. And the technical information they give, comprehensive, appropriate, and accurate technical information, has to be spot on. Incorrect info that leads to a safety issue, that's another automatic fail.
High stakes.
Very. And feedback needs to be appropriate and timely. Balanced, relevant, positive, but honest. And it's a two-way street responding to the pupil's queries, too.
So listening is as important as talking.
Often more important, the guidance even notes, sitting quietly and saying nothing can also be a very powerful form of feedback in some situations.
That's subtle, and they need to be non-discriminatory.
Absolutely non-negotiable.
Yeah.
Appropriate, non-discriminatory manner, maintaining an open, friendly, respectful environment regardless of the pupil's background, challenging bad attitudes towards other road users, avoiding personal comments, respecting personal space, basic respect, but formalized as a competence.
It really paints a picture of a very skilled communicator and observer, doesn't it?
It really does. It's less about the instructor showing off their driving and much more about facilitating the pupil's growth into a safe, responsible thinking driver.
One of the most revealing parts of this guidance for me was how it acknowledges that a pupil isn't just one type of person.
Oh, definitely. Instructors face such a diverse range of learners, don't they? Each with totally different needs, challenges, maybe even anxieties.
Right. And the guidance actually spells out some of these different pupil profiles, which I found fascinating. It really pushes PDIs away from a one-size-fits-all mentality.
It does. It forces the instructor to be almost like a diagnostician as well as a teacher, constantly assessing, adapting their methods to whoever is in the passenger seat.
Exactly. Let's look at a couple of examples they give. Take the experienced pupil
Hmm.
about ready to take their practical driving test.
Okay, yeah. The ones who think they know it all sometimes.
Huh? Maybe. The guidance says they might be technically skilled, but could have bad habits, maybe an inflated opinion of their competence, or perhaps poor risk understanding. They might not reflect on their driving.
Right, so the PDI's job isn't just polishing maneuvers.
Not at all. It says the focus must be on reducing those newly qualified driver crashes, developing a realistic understanding of their ability and risk, reinforcing scanning, planning, reflection, even fuel-efficient driving. It's about attitude as much as skill.
That's a much bigger goal than just passing the test.
Definitely. Then there's the experienced full license holder, people who already drive.
Why would they need lessons?
Lots of reasons, apparently. Maybe refreshing skills after a break, adapting to a new car, or driving on motorways for the first time, maybe driving for work, or even family pressure. Could be after an accident, returning after illness, or maybe age-related issues.
A huge range. So what's the PDI's approach there?
Crucially, the guidance says the PDI must identify what that specific pupil wants from the lesson, and then deliver a plan that actually moves their learning forward, not just pointing out faults they might already know about.
So respecting their existing experience, but targeting the specific need. Tailoring again.
Constantly tailoring. It really highlights that the PDI's ultimate skill isn't just their own driving. It's that ability to sort of dynamically assess, empathize with, and educate this vastly different person sitting next to them.
Which requires huge interpersonal skills, doesn't it? Not just the technical driving knowledge. It really does connect to that idea of adaptive teaching, a vital skill anywhere, really.
So the lesson's done, the observation is complete. But it's not quite over, is it? There's the feedback.
Right, the debrief, a really critical step for the PDI's development.
How does that work? The examiner finishes the assessment.
On the DES app, yeah. They do it immediately after getting back to the office, not in the car. Takes about 10 minutes, usually. The app calculates the score, the final grade automatically.
And the PDI gets the result?
Via email. A copy of the full assessment report lands in their inbox.
Okay. In the actual feedback session.
That has to be private, just the examiner and the PDI. Unless the PDI gives permission for someone else, like their trainer or mentor, to be there.
Can the trainer jump in?
No, the third party can observe, but they absolutely cannot interfere. The examiner tells the PDI their grade, their score.
And if it's a fail?
They're told clearly, directly, that their instruction isn't at an acceptable level, and crucially, they're given evidence. Specific examples on X road, when Y happened, relating it directly back to those competences. Lesson planning, risk management, teaching strategies.
So it's constructive, hopefully.
That's the aim. To help the PDI understand why they failed and where they need to focus to improve. But there's a key distinction the guidance makes.
Which is?
The examiner's role is not to be the PDI's trainer or tutor. They explain the assessment of what they saw, but they don't tell the PDI how to deliver better instruction.
Okay. They assess, they don't train.
Exactly. If the PDI failed, they're advised to seek more guidance from an audit-registered trainer, someone on the official register of driving instructor training.
That's an interesting line they have to walk, isn't it? Giving feedback for development, but not actually doing the training themselves.
It is. It reinforces that the test is a snapshot of current competence. Future improvement. That's the PDI's responsibility with the right support.
And just quickly, the admin outcomes. What happens after a pass or fail?
Well, if the test gets stopped for reasons outside the PDI's control, like the car breaking down, it's recorded as no result. Doesn't count as an attempt.
Okay.
A third attempt fail. That triggers an email to the ADI team, the approved driving instructor registrar, and that can mean their trainee license gets revoked.
Serious consequences.
Very, but a pass. That results in an email guiding the PDI to apply to join the ADI register, become a fully qualified instructor.
And can they appeal the result?
They can complain if they think the test procedure wasn't right, but they cannot appeal the examiner's actual decision, the assessment of their performance, the judgment stands. So, thinking about all this, what's a practical takeaway for us when we see a learner driver, see an instructor out there on the roads?
What does it all mean on a Monday morning commute?
Yeah. It means those instructors guiding new drivers. They've been through a remarkably thorough, really quite nuanced evaluation.
It certainly sounds like it.
This whole process, it's designed to make sure they're not just competent drivers themselves, but that they're genuinely adept educators, people who can foster safety, adaptability, critical thinking in their pupils.
So it's a quality control mechanism,
Yeah,
fundamentally.
absolutely. A foundational element in promoting road safety, not just for the person learning, but truly for everyone sharing the road.
So we've taken a real deep dive today, haven't we, into this, well, rigorous and often surprising world of assessing driving instructors.
We have uncovering those layers, the preparation, the client-centered teaching focus, that meticulous risk management. It all goes into shaping competent educators.
It's clear the role is so much more than just showing someone how to use the pedals and steer.
Oh, far beyond. It's about nurturing awareness, building confidence, fostering that lifelong learning attitude in pupils, making sure they become responsible road users for the long term.
So what does this all mean for you, listening? Maybe the next time you're out driving, think not just about your driving, but consider that ripple effect. Every driving instructor's ability, or inability perhaps, to create safe, reflective drivers who understand the why, not just the how.
That's a great point. How much does the quality of that instruction happening every day in thousands of cars truly impact the safety and just the general flow of traffic for all of us, way beyond just the learner in the passenger seat?
Yeah.
And maybe, just maybe, how might understanding their assessment criteria that focus on planning, risk, adapting, reflecting, actually help us become more mindful, more adaptable drivers ourselves, continuously assessing our own performance on the road?
Food for thought. Keep reflecting, keep learning, and join us next time